What's up, YouTube? Nate, the old school otaku here, and I'm coming at you with part 4 of my top 25 anime of all time. Stay tuned! And welcome back. So, here we are once again with another set of great picks for you today. Coming at you with another 5 picks to go along with my top 25. So this is pick number 16 through 20 of my top 25 anime of all time that I own. Now, for those of you who are just now checking this out and this is your first time, I encourage you to go back and check out parts 1 through 3. So I'll have part 1 sitting here, part 2 sitting here, and part 3 right down here. So feel free to click one of those and continue on. Now, while none of these are actually displayed in any particular order, it might be a good idea to go back and at the very least watch them at some point in time. So I'll wait a second for you guys to check those out and then I'll be back. Alright, so for everybody who's still here, anybody who's come back, welcome back. And hey, I've got another set here. For those of you who are just sticking around with me at this point, we'll go ahead and give you a little bit more of the stipulations as to what I mean when I'm talking about my top 25. Now, first off, I can't count to 10. I have a hard time with it, so, and really, it took me a really long time to get this down to just 25 entries here, so it takes me a while. I love so much, but right now, basically, the way this goes is all of these shows has to have a physical release that I personally own, and I have to have seen it. So this is the top 25 anime of all time that I have seen and personally own. So, well, rather than rambling more about it, let's get started. Hope you enjoy.
Queen Emeraldus.
When I think back on anime I bought while growing up that caused controversy between my parents and I cannot forget about Queen Emeraldus. I used Christmas money to pick up my copy and was asked to return it due to the skull and crossbones Emeraldus wears depicted on the cover. Of course, I had already opened and watched it by that point, so due to the way returns at Suncoast worked back in the day, I couldn't return it. Either way, this 4-episode OVA from 1998, based on the manga by the same name, is one of my favorite anime based on Leiji Matsumoto's work. Queen Emeraldus tells the story of Emeraldus, a privateer captain of the spaceship Queen Emeraldus, as she travels the vast sea of stars. She finds herself on a backwater planet and in the middle of an intergalactic struggle between the inhabitants and a galactic superpower. I don't know much about the story of the last half of the OVA, but it seems to have something to do with a cyborg. Sadly, here in the States, Queen Emeraldus has only seen a partial release. ADV licensed the first 2 episodes of the OVA and released it on VHS and DVD in 1999. The last 2 episodes, however, have not been released here in the States, and due to being made by a different production company, basically required an entirely different license in order to release. When searching Amazon and eBay for pricing, I was met with a bit of sticker shock. Even for a show I love as much as this, and believe me, I do want to own the DVD someday, a Benjamin is not worth it to me for just 2 episodes. At this point, I think I'll hold out for a re-release.
Porco Rosso.
Porco Rosso is one of my favorite Miyazaki films, and often battles Nausicaa as my top pick of his works. This 1992 movie has an epic soundtrack by Joe Hisaishi, and is based on a 3-part watercolor manga written by Miyazaki himself. It follows an Italian ex-World War I ace pilot who has been transformed into a talking pig. Flying a bright red biplane and working as a bounty hunter targeting air pirates, Porco Rosso, Italian for red pig, explores the world of early aviation, a theme that has only recently been reprised in The Wind Rises. Disney has released Porco Rosso a few times in the States, with the most recent release being on Blu-ray. Due to this, it is extremely easy to find a copy of this movie for standard prices. As with all Disney releases, the dubbing is top-notch and worth a watch even for fans of the Japanese such as myself. This is one I think should be on every anime fan's shelf.
Armitage the Third.
Rounding out the list of shows I first saw from Sci-Fi Channel's Anime Weeks, Armitage the Third is perhaps the one anime I have rewatched the most. Originally released as a 4-episode OVA series in 1995, it was later reworked as a movie in 1997, changing the story up, adding additional footage, and using a new dub with popular actors at the time taking the lead roles. Ultimately, it was this new movie titled Armitage the Third Polymatrix that I saw, purchased as the first anime I ever owned in my collection, and immediately fell in love with. The show takes place on Mars and follows Ross Syllabus, played by Kiefer Sutherland, a detective from Earth that recently transferred to Mars, and his new partner Naomi Armitage, played by Elizabeth Berkley. They work together to stop a serial murderer bent on killing famous people. There is a varied cast of characters that rounds out the department and help to center the protagonists. This cyberpunk-style show seems to draw inspiration for the story from shows like Blade Runner, posing similar questions about what it means to really be alive or human. Packed with violence, some mild nudity, and a rebellious attitude, I can't say I would recommend this for the younger crowd. Had my parents known the content of the movie, I doubt they would have ever bought it for me all those years ago, as an impressionable young teen. Though, I don't regret having seen it one bit, as the deep plot and philosophical and moral dilemmas posed within helped shape me to who I am today. Due to the popularity of Armitage, it is relatively easy to find, though depending on the format, the price tag can be a little on the high side. The original 4-episode OVA was given its own dub and released by Pioneer. The Polymatrix movie was also released by Pioneer on VHS and DVD, along with a sequel titled Dual Matrix. All of this happened in the 90s and early 2000s, with the Dual Matrix movie coming out in 2002. Sadly, to the disappointment of most fans of the original, the sequel was more of an action film than a psychological and philosophical social drama like its predecessor. The OVAs and both movies have seen recent re-releases by Funimation, which makes finding copies a cinch. Currently, there is no Blu-ray release, but I have my hopes up and certainly will pick up such a release if it ever happens.
Dragon Half.
Most of my picks in this top 25 list have dealt with serious themes and storylines. Dragon Half, on the other hand, is most certainly not such a show. This 2-episode OVA from 1993, based on the manga by the same name, sets out to parody the standard tropes of the day in regard to fantasy. While originally there were plans to make a 4-episode OVA, apparently the first 2 episodes didn't garner enough support to warrant the final 2 episodes to be produced. Despite the limited adoption of the manga storyline, the final product of Dragon Half as an anime is a delightful fantasy adventure. It follows Mink, a dragon half, who sets out on an adventure with her friends in order to find a potion that can turn her into a full human, in order to win the love of her crush, the dragon slayer idol Dick Saucer. The journey will not be easy, as the king of the land hates dragons with a seething passion and throws everything, including the kitchen sink, at Mink in order to kill her. The OVA saw an original US release by ADV and was brought out on both VHS and DVD. This version can be found for a rather decent price online. For those holding out for a newer release, Discotek Media picked up the rights in 2014 and is planning a new DVD release.
Akira.
It feels almost so obvious to me, as well as to what feels like the collective consciousness of the fandom, to talk about Akira on a top anime of all time list, that I shouldn't even need to mention it. As much as I feel by not having seen it, you would be doing a disservice to yourself, in the end, I would be doing a greater disservice to you to not bring it up. So, here we are. Akira is an animated film from 1988 directed by Katsuhiro Otomo and based on his manga by the same name. The film depicts the story of a biker gang caught in the middle of a world they do not fully understand. Set in a dystopian future, Tokyo, with cyberpunk tones, the story features themes of government overreach, testing friendships, and mysteries of the power of the mind. The film has received critical acclaim over the years. In 1989, Roger Ebert gave the movie his pick of the week, and for the wider 2001 release, he gave it thumbs up. Akira has been praised for its ingenuity in storytelling, animated style, and musical prowess. Referred to as a landmark show that has influenced much of what has come since. It is widely regarded as one of the greatest animated and science fiction features of all time. Streamline Pictures originally dubbed Akira in 1989, and it has since seen multiple releases. The Criterion Collection released a version of the movie on Laserdisc in 1992, being the first animated film to have ever been released in the collection, and pretty much the only one to hold the title until the Fantastic Mr. Fox release a few years ago. Manga Entertainment was created in part due to the success of Akira. I still remember their late-night advertisements for anime on TV featuring Akira fondly. In 2001, Pioneer Entertainment redubbed Akira and released the movie on DVD. There are also two different Blu-ray releases in the States. The first, from 2009, was released by Bandai Entertainment and featured the streamlined dub. In 2013, Funimation released a 25th anniversary Blu-ray, which featured both the streamline and Pioneer dubs. If you haven't had a chance to see Akira yet, I highly recommend to rectify the issue at your earliest convenience. That is, if you are legally allowed to view rated R material, and, of course, after you finish watching this video.
And that's it for today, folks. So, it's been a blast actually sharing some of these picks with you. I mean, this one right here, Armitage the Third, like I said, this is the very first anime I ever owned in my collection. This exact VHS tape. Parents bought it for me for my birthday, and I have been in love with this movie ever since. And so it's really, really cool to be able to share my love of this with you up here on this list. I mean, I went out of my way to get this Laserdisc. In fact, this Laserdisc is apparently a sample copy, which I thought was kind of interesting and cool there. So, yeah, I mean, all of this stuff is really good. I recommend every single piece, or otherwise it wouldn't be on the list. But, as I said, this is currently just my opinion, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what things you think should show up on the last 5 of this top 25. Let me know if there's something up here that you think shouldn't be up there. I want to know what you guys think, because this is kind of a give and take. I want to know what you guys think because, well, I'm interested, it's not just all about me, but for now, this is what I've got. Anyway, though, I want to thank each and every single one of you for checking this video out today and sticking with me here to the very end. It's been a blast talking about all of this cool stuff, and I can't wait to show you what I've got coming in next week for the final 5 on this list. And I've even got something a little special planned for shortly thereafter, so can't wait to talk about all of this stuff. I'm giddy with what I'm going to show you guys next time. But for now, that's it. If you like what you've seen here so far and you haven't done so already, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button above my head, because it's going to help me out, and it's also going to put you front row and center anytime I release something new, because it's going to show up in your YouTube feed for you to actually check out. And of course, if you want to check out a few more things that I've done in the past year, you can go ahead and hit one of these 2 videos up here in order to check those out and see some more content that I've got going on here. And of course, I've got to thank everyone who supported me on Patreon, and if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to check out my Patreon page and consider consider joining me on Patreon, because you know what? Every little bit and piece that goes into that goes directly into the making of these videos. I would like to get some better camera equipment, would love to get some better audio equipment, some more lights, things like that in order to make this production better and more interesting, more suited for all of you guys. I'd love to upgrade all of my stuff and get to that point, and every little bit that you send me helps. So thank you guys for considering, and of course, thank you guys for staying tuned. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. In the meantime, though, this is Nate, the old school otaku, signing off.
Yay! I made it! It's done! I'm doing the same thing I did last time! Ugh.
It's another toot baby.
You're a toot baby.
Ooh, don't I know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a couple laser discs in my hand. What could it be? I don't know. Well, Gunsmith Cats.